this would actually be a really good opportunity to do a segment that I wanted to do on Wednesday, because when I was going through my email, I found three separate questions regarding my personal bullpen / like long toss routine, and like how many days do I throw a bullpen, how many days do I throw a long toss, and all that stuff. So for the individuals that wanted to know that question, I simply said, like, obviously the time of the year is gonna depend on that, right? Like, that's gonna vary per time of the year, what I'm working on, if I'm in season, out of season, starter, reliever. There's so many different variables for that. So I wanted to talk about it in terms of how I see fit to attack that on each type of season. So let's just start with like where I'm at right now. Okay. So where I'm at right now is early April, and I'm going to be going into more than likely an independent ball season. Now, what's tough for me at this point in my career is determining starter or reliever. I've always said that if I end up going to indie ball, I want to be a starter. Why? Because I simply have a lot of fun starting. Like, if you guys been following me for a while, you know I'm very analytical within my approach. You guys know that I like, the game within the game, a lot of pitch sequencing stuff. And I like to apply that to like starting. Whereas out of the bullpen, it's not that, right? It's come in, it's go to your best stuff and get outs and miss bats. Now, what's interesting is I've identified that I'm far better as a bullpen guy. Like, that's just the way it is. I'm a better pitcher when everything's simplistic. I'm going out there and I'm blowing it out. I don't care about pitch sequencing, I'm just kind of getting out there and going with my best stuff. But in terms of like finding the absolute most joy out of throwing and pitching, I find that more so as a starter. So I've always said if I ever go to indie ball, that I want to be a starter. So just to get back to where we were going with that, was now I'm in the process of all my affiliated offers and all that interest that I had in winter ball kind of fell through. Now I'm at the point where it's like, all right, probably going to indie ball, so I'm more than likely wanting to be a starter. Okay. So now I have to build up to be able to be a starter, which in just my throwing volume increases, and my mound reps increase, and so on and so forth. So to put that in terms of the correlation to the question, right now I'm actually focused more so on like the volume buildup than anything, meaning like I'm not really so focused on the amount of times that I step on the mound, more so than the actual overall volume of throws per day. So that's because I'm a month and change away from the season. And that's going to change, obviously, when I get closer. But right now I'm in the volume building stage, which is just more overall throwing repetitions to get my arm and my body used to that. So if I'm a reliever, that drastically changes because I'm going to spend more time on the mound with less repetitions, but more time in terms of like your work week, right? So that's off season. In season is going to be different. In season, as a starter, I'm probably be going to take 1 day a week off of throwing, 2 days a week on the mound, not including start day, and then another one. So 3 total days on a mound, 3 total days not on a mound, and then 1 day completely off. And that's a starting routine in season. Bullpen routine in season, obviously you guys know that could always vary depending on like bullpen roles. There's been times where out of a 7-day week, say we have 7 games, there's been times where I've been on the mound 5 or 6 times out of those 7 days. It all kind of just varies. So you do with what you can. But in terms of like where I am right now, and in terms of answering the question in regards to like long toss and bullpens, it depends on what you quantify as long toss, because I've been in organizations that consider long toss being anything over like 60 feet or 120. If that's the case, then I long toss every single day. There's not a day that goes by where I'm throwing that I'm not throwing 250 to 300 feet. That's just what I've realized that my arm feels the best with, and I recover the best, and so on and so forth. So even on days that I go on a mound, I try to stretch it out a little bit as well. Now, as a bullpen guy, that changes. If I'm throwing a bullpen and I'm a bullpen guy, I don't really do anything from the throwing program standpoint. I just go right to the mound. It changes. That's why the question's so kind of difficult to answer. But hopefully take something from that. The biggest encouragement that I have for those guys that ask questions like that is it all depends on like you, man. Obviously, it's nice to get a kind of feel for what other people are doing in their routines, but at the same time, like, I've spent multiple years identifying what I need from a workload standpoint to feel my best.